Previously on Sister Wives.
So people on Reddit are saying Mariposa has a nice venue, but it's not difficult at all to get a reservation there.
I'm going to get reservations to Sedona's most exclusive restaurant, Mariposa. That will trick Janelle into loving me again. Getting reservations at Mariposa sure is hard. It's been 6 weeks and nothing. I'm starting to believe that it's impossible to get a reservation.
What do they say when you call them?
Call them? They have a phone. They need to call me. Phones work both ways.
No one told you that polygamy was bad. You have got no husband, your kids have got no dad. It's like you're always stuck as space and wife, when it hasn't been a good week, a month, a year, in your whole life. He's not there for you. He's afraid of being poor. He's not there for you, like he wasn't there before. He's not there for you. What doesn't he do?
Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel.
My name is Angie.
This is my husband Tim, and we are recapping from NAU's Science Center.
It's the hip place to hang out if your name is Aurora.
Before we dive right into the episode, I do want to share some escapades Tim and I have been up to. Last Friday, we went to a comedy show in downtown Salt Lake City because we hardly ever go out. We're like Robin's part of the family and that we're homebodies. We went to see a comedian I have been following on TikTok for a while. His name is Benjamin Brown. So here's a picture we took with him. If you didn't know, he's Kody's nephew. The topic of his stand-up comedy usually revolves around his upbringing in the AUB. He jokes a lot about how hard it was to work on his family ranch, and he was essentially labor trafficked to work in his family bakery ever since he was a small child. They'd work him for 6 to 14 hours a day until he managed to leave the cult. Afterwards, he joined mainstream Mormonism, and he eventually left that as well. I thought he was very funny, and the things he talked about, as sad as it was very insightful to this religion that the Browns grew up in. After the show, I actually asked him something I've been wondering about for so long whenever I watch Sister Wives. I asked him what happens to a man in the religion when he chooses to divorce a wife. Basically, he gave details that if a man divorces a woman, she will then be married into another family. They're going to reassign her and her children to another man. However, it is extremely rare for a man to divorce a wife. So I'm going to assume that men in the AUB are all like Kody, where if they just hate a particular wife, they're also going to just drag her around until she gets the wherewithal to leave. And all of them believe that they are righteous despite that. Benjamin also said that when a woman chooses to leave, it's usually because she wants to marry up. She wants to join a family in higher standing. And I'm thinking to myself, that's exactly what Robin did when she married into the Brown family.
It's possible that she was still married spiritually to this Jessup guy, but only by consummating her marriage to Kody did that divorce go through.
Yeah, we're unsure if Robin was granted that much-needed release before she was spiritually married to Kody.
We were hoping that there was going to be some sort of punitive
punishment for the men who divorced the wife.
But that's not the case.
Yeah, by and large, nothing really happens to the man or the remaining wives that choose to stay with him. This makes me think that Kody just doesn't want to outright divorce Meri because it's a matter of pride, more so than a matter of punishment.
I think it's trying to placate Robin, personally.
That's also true. But anyways, the comedy show is really great. Benjamin is very easy to talk to. So that's it for Angie and Tim's adventures. Oh, and one more thing. I just want to preface the recap. I'm probably going to insert some video clips from the show here and there, but it's going to have a heavy filter over it since I'm trying to hide from the YouTube copyright. So if it looks and sounds like dog, that's because I'm trying to keep the video public in all countries.
Angie had trouble keeping the video available in Germany
and Switzerland.
And Luxembourg.
Because I had one clip of Kody getting that ring all his wives gifted him back in season 4. And ultimately I had to trim that out post-production. That's why you couldn't see it. All right, so let's get into this week's episode. Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 9. Battle lines are drawn. So this is the episode where we get even more context into the Brown family's civil war. We start back where we left off. We are at Garrison's house just in time for dinner. Christine is busy preparing a salad bar for Janelle and the 4 children that will be in attendance: Garrison, Gabe, Gwen, and Savannah. Unfortunately, Truly isn't available since this get-together is actually going to be a Kody vent session. Due to that agenda, Christine has been real careful about her youngest child finding out that her dad has actually been an absentee father all along.
Womp womp.
We'll get more into this. Janelle and Savannah arrive, bearing refreshments. Janelle has baked a low-calorie key lime pie, as well as having bought a regular version of the dessert. Christine enthusiastically explains the setup she has got going. She went so far as to buy a dozen little white bowls for the occasion and as a gift to Garrison. Janelle smiles and says that her son doesn't have any china of his own yet. The ex-third wife illustrates the timeline since her departure. She officially left for Utah back in September 2021. It has been 6 months since then, making this month sometime in March 2022. The show obviously isn't interested in showing events in chronological order, since last episode was May 6th / Janelle's birthday, and now we revert back to March for Christine's ex-anniversary, and later to April, which is Avalon's first birthday. Christine also clarifies how the family she's left behind have been faring without her. It hasn't been good. Janelle's boys and Savannah have been more depressed since their bonus mom left. Christine says they appeared sad when she saw them last Christmas, but hopes something has changed. The concerned mom then starts having a conversation with Savannah, who is busy slicing up some cucumbers. She asks some casual questions. How is Savannah doing in school? And does she see any of her siblings during that time? Savannah says that she is doing well and will often run into Brianna since they share the same teacher but during different periods. We get a cut to a confessional of Robin's daughters, where Brianna expounds on the apathetic sibling dynamic. She characterizes their associations as decent.
Isn't that what Kody says? He uses the word decent to describe how he and Meri behave.
Yes. We'll see more in this episode how much Brianna takes after her parents. Brianna admits that she hasn't been forthright in building that relationship up with her sister, since she believes Savannah belongs to the part of the family that was indifferent to their father's safety guidelines during COVID. I mean, Robin did basically lie to all her children that all their extended family hates them. So I can understand why Brianna would feel like that. It's just so annoying. Brianna claims she feels hurt when Savannah passes her by with no recognition during those school hours, since they have grown up as siblings for the past 12 years. She then scrunches her face into a full-on Robin fake cry. This reminds me of the time when Robin was admitted into the hospital and Kody got COVID.
Is a super, energetic, happy guy, but when he got COVID, he was really different, because... sounded like he was getting really depressed. Because, I grew up with her. Grew up with all of them. Sorry. Can we cut? I don't want to cry.
She might actually be depressed, but I'm so over Robin and the antics that she has passed down onto her children. You can cry. Just stop playing it up for the cameras.
Yeah, Brianna did not look good in this clip, and you couldn't tell me that she wasn't playing it up.
Yeah, before I watched this episode, my opinion of Aurora was down here and Brianna was up here. It's not that much, but after this episode, Aurora was up here and Brianna's down here.
Yeah, I didn't have much of an opinion on these two, but Brianna really came off as not great.
Yeah. As Brianna bends over to hide her face in her hair, Aurora is patting her sister on the back to console her. I'm like, Brianna, if you're so depressed about it, then why weren't you the first one to say hi to Savannah?
Yeah, I mean, it's like Robin and Kody that are constantly teaching their children to be victimized, but they're not going to allow themselves to be a victim while they're victimizing themselves. It's obnoxious.
We do learn from Janelle in the next segment that Savannah and Brianna don't have a relationship at all. Back in Garrison's kitchen, Christine seeks to get more insight into Savannah and Brianna's non-existent bond. She asks her bonus daughter if this aloofness between the two of them has been recent. Savannah refutes that assumption, asserting that she's never been close to the siblings that were her age, aka Robin's older daughters. The high school junior makes it clear that that stance doesn't extend to her mom's or Christine's children. As Savannah washes shrimp, Christine then asks the teenager if her most recent outing with her dad was any fun. She further apologizes that she had to share her daddy-daughter date with Truly since the 12-year-old girl hasn't done anything with Kody in 6 months. Savannah smiles and reassures the anxious woman that that was perfectly fine for her little sister to tag along. Christine continues to express regret for Savannah's plight with her father. The collected 17-year-old just shrugs, replying that it's been like this for a while, where she honestly didn't notice a difference when her dad did decide to take his frustrations out on her mom. She goes, "It doesn't bother me since it's been so long that he's been absent. I didn't even notice that he's not been around." This is the same thing that Truly said last season where she didn't realize her parents were divorced, since her dad hardly was around her anyway.
It's frustrating to watch this because you can see just how ignorant Christine was of how bad things really were. Because she was so focused on herself that she didn't really ask how the kids were doing. And she's also asking herself if any of it was actually good. Because she, in her mind, was telling herself that, oh, these kids are close, and we did a good thing by making them polygamists, and we really did create this wonderful family culture. And then she talks to
Savannah?
And it's super clear that, oh, no, everything that you thought that was going good was actually just in your own delusional mind.
I do think Christine was a good mom, but how can you be a great mom to 20 kids?
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I was thinking when I was watching this.
Christine pauses on the couch, trying to come up with a response to Savannah's admission. She berates Kody for letting his relationships get this broken. A relationship that is not broken by any means is the one between Meri and her BFF, Jan. Both of them are transporting an indoor heater and other contents within the carriage house to a different area as a means to prep it for renovations. Meri reiterates that with the recent passing of her mom, she decided to make Parowan more of her home/point of business in terms of running the inn and selling her MLM clothing line. Along with that, she is downsizing from her massive Flagstaff home. She justified its hefty size and cost due to believing that family events would occur there on a regular basis. For several years, that has not been the case since, obviously, those happen at Robin's now.
And I feel like Meri knew that, but got the house anyway.
Yeah, Meri's deluding herself. We then see footage of Jen's husband, Sean, unscrewing a utility closet from the shed. As he's busy renovating the carriage house, Jen starts to grope him whilst making faces at the camera. As Meri films Sean working, she starts to sigh, yearning for the time when she used to have a man help her around the house. She tells us some BS, saying that she still feels that she is spiritually bound to Kody, despite the fact that that man has lost her phone number. She goes, "Our spiritual marriage is still valid, even though he's been ignoring me for 10 plus years.
She's spiritually stalking him.
Cody's not playing hard to get, but Meri sure is playing hard to get rid of. Meri then asks an unnecessary question to Sean, if it's weird for his wife to be friends with a polygamist woman. I'm just yelling, Meri, you are not a polygamist. You're just a spinster.
Yeah, this isn't season 1. You can't just ask people this kind of stuff and have them be like, what? That's so crazy. No, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, there's literally nothing unconventional about your lifestyle. The only thing that's weird about you is that you have a TV show, but you're not living plural marriage anymore.
Nobody cares. You're not special, Meri.
Meri says that it's nice to be seen as who she is and not with the weird lifestyle that comes along with her.
Yeah, that's called being divorced.
Again, the only weird thing about how you choose to live your life, Meri, is the way you torture yourself by hanging around a man who's told you a plethora of times that he doesn't give a flying rat's ass about you. That's what's weird about you, Meri. And all of us are judging you hard for it. The woman who is constantly in denial does profess that she has gotten to this point in plural marriage since she, like Kody, tends to nurture the relationships that are easiest. She likes being with her BFF more so than any of her sister wives or husband, since unlike anybody in her family, Jen has been easy with Meri about everything.
I still think that Meri and Kody are basically the same person.
Do you think Jen is the replacement Robin?
I mean, maybe, but I think she's better because she's not f***ing her husband.
Because Meri doesn't have to be afraid that Jen is having sex with Kody.
Yes.
There have been instances in the past where Meri felt that kind of effortlessness around Christine, Kody, Robin, and even Janelle to a certain extent. Sadly, that closeness is a relic of the Brown family years gone by.
Before Robin.
We get more filler footage from the trio. Jen asks her husband if she is the best wife he's ever had. He confirms that notion. She laughs and asks him a second question, implying that she, Jen, is the only woman he's married, making the first inquiry pointless.
It's all pointless. All of this Meri stuff is pointless. Nobody cares about Meri or Jen, and least of all Jen's husband and his opinions on polygamy.
As Meri shoots this interaction between the happily married couple, she cracks up, telling both of them that this line of questioning would be avoided if Sean were a polygamist. The line of questioning of, is Jen your favorite? Mm-hmm. The show then diverts our attention to once again the topic of favoritism in the plural lifestyle. We get a montage of the OG3 maintaining that favoritism shouldn't be tolerated when living polygamy. Meri definitely thinks the family structure fails when certain wives are favored. Christine reveals that in her church community, whenever she did see families with husbands who played favorites, she would silently pass judgment on them. Janelle, like the former two, explains that when a husband has a bias for particular wives, he is regressing in his original commitment to be a better man. She says that polygamist men who live the principle correctly are able to grow and improve themselves as they give all their wives equal and adequate time and connection. Kody's stance is different.
And bad.
He rationalizes the favoritism he has displayed over the past decade because Robin deserves it. She has been more loyal to him than any of the women, so, of course, he is more drawn to her. As a result, he organized his time around that wife and her children because it is less of a struggle for him.
I mean, this is just classic authoritarianism. Mm-hmm. If there's a disparaged group, it's because they deserve it. And if there is a group that is privileged, it's because they deserve it. It's just classic control mechanisms. It's disgusting.
Kody the propagandist. My first inclination when hearing these interviews is to say, no, Kody, you're wrong. There should have been no signs of favoritism within your belief system. However, this topic reminded me of this one TikTok that Benjamin made concerning how rampant favoritism was amongst polygamist families. So basically in the TikTok, Ben goes into an explanation of the LDS doctrine. Mormons and other Mormon sects believe that before everyone was born, they were a spirit child in heaven. So during that time, all these spirit children were presented with two plans. There was Satan's plan and Jesus' plan. A civil war in heaven then broke out. The side that followed Jesus' plan won. That meant 2/3 of the spirit children who followed Jesus were able to go to earth and get physical bodies. Now, this is where the mainstream LDS doctrine differs from the AUB doctrine. Benjamin then says,
Satan rebelled, and he got a whole bunch of other people, a whole bunch of other spirit babies, in fact, 1/3 of them, to rebel with him. And what I was taught was that all of those people who rebelled, all of those spirits who rebelled, were all men. Because before this rebellion happened, there was kind of parity in the genders. There was an equal number of women and there were an equal number of men spirit babies. And so everyone had a soulmate, right? You had the kind of this eternal bond with this one person. But when the rebellion happened and all of these men followed Satan, they got cast down to earth as demons without getting the opportunity to have bodies. And that meant that their women up in heaven didn't get to have someone to get married to, right? Their eternal companion had been lost. But don't worry, God had a plan. He invented polygamy. And so some of the more righteous members of the people who stayed, the righteous men, they covenanted with these women who had been left behind. They were like, don't worry, you can join our families and we'll find you on earth and you'll be part of our families. That way you'll get to, still have all of the blessings of marriage and exaltation. Which basically means that in every polygamous family, there's essentially one wife who is kind of the original wife, right? The core kind of soulmate of the man. And then the other wives are sort of leftovers, which could be a reason why in polygamy you often see a favorite wife issue. Because in the man's head, he's thinking, oh, this is the one that I was originally created with. And then these others are just kind of the ones that I picked up because their husbands were wicked.
So in summation, Ben is saying that favoritism is the norm in their religious culture, because that favorite wife was supposed to be the original soulmate of the man, and any other women that happen to marry this same guy are just basically hanging around him.
They're leftovers.
Yeah, to get those celestial blessings in the afterlife, because obviously they couldn't, since their original husband/soulmate turned into a demon. Favoritism is the rule in their church, not the exception.
It's the doctrinal canon.
Should Kody have tried to be the exception in terms of being the one polygamist who doesn't play favorites? Absolutely. But like I said in the beginning of the recap, I think Kody is comfortable doing all the things that men in his cult are comfortable doing.
Yeah, that's your cultural expectation. I mean, it would be more surprising if he decided to be different, but it just means that he's a lazy
So that was a long rant. We segue back to Garrison's house. Gabe has shown up. He gives Christine a big hug and sits down on one of the bar stools. He informs his moms that someone has taken over his lease and will be moving into his brother's abode this upcoming weekend. Janelle conveys that this camaraderie will greatly help the mental health of her two sons. She says, "There is an air to living with someone who cares that you've come home safely. They're not necessarily trying to be your parent, but it's reassuring to know someone cares about you." I think this is a dig towards Kody because clearly he doesn't care whether Janelle has come home safe or not, since he doesn't stay with or contact her.
I was just about to say that, so we're on the same page.
As everyone prepares to eat, Christine keeps everyone posted of Truly's whereabouts. Kody is babysitting her, and she is also having a sleepover at Robin's. She carries on saying Truly believes her relationship with her dad is aces. The 12-year-old girl believes Kody is an upstanding father.
How naive.
The divorced mother explains the reason for her youngest's mindset. Truly believes her father is not a deadbeat because of Christine's decision to leave Flagstaff. Truly's perception of her and her dad's relationship was, in a way, frozen in time. The many miles between both of them gives Truly the much-needed rationalization that her father is not around due to that distance, and not because of his own choices.
She's basically tricking her daughter into thinking that her father loves her.
It's a bold strategy. Let's see if that pays off. The ever-unaware man rolls his eyes to this resolution Christine has came up with, which I think has worked out for the most part. Out of all of Kody's biological children, Truly is the only one who doesn't think she has been outright neglected by her dad. Kody can talk about how stupid this idea was, but it has prevented her from feeling like an outcast in relation to Robin's part of the family. Because Gwen, Isabel, Garrison, Gabe, and Savannah have all said that they feel that favoritism, and Kody has this pattern where if he senses even slightly that his children feel they are being wronged by him, he gets uncomfortable with that child, and he goes to other children that are easy with him. In other words, the tender children who just don't know any better.
I kind of feel like You know how they say that you're not supposed to touch the eggs of a bird's nest or the baby birds and put them back in the nest because the mother will smell it and like reject the child? That's how Kody is with these children. If he gets even a whiff of criticism of who he is as a parent, he will neglect the baby bird and let it die off by itself.
That's so sad. Am I going to have to do another bird animation?
No, I think we're good with bird animations.
Because I already did a cuckoo robin.
No, promise, no more bird ones unless people want them.
I'm thinking to myself, if Christine didn't move, I wholeheartedly believe truly would have been a second Savannah. Kody wouldn't call or text her. He'd complain that the phone works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I wish Christine would just let Truly realize how much of a jack Kody has been. But then again, maybe the illusion is better to put up with. I don't know, I'm not a parent. Is it better to live in denial?
God, that's a philosophical quandary right there. I don't got an answer for you.
Speaking of the douche canoe, Janelle asked her sons if they or their father reached out to one another. Gabriel flat out tells his mom that hasn't happened. This is due to their dad only wanting to form relationships with minor children. Which is a lie, since Savannah is unmistakably a minor, and Kody couldn't give a thought about her.
God.
As Gabe nonchalantly discloses this piece of information, Christine once again has a remorseful expression on her face. Janelle throws light on her absentee husband's lack of parenting. Kody dotes on younger children, but ignores those that have gone through puberty due to that being easy. She goes, "It was very easy for him to slip into that role of fatherhood, since young children see their parents as very important figures in their lives. His opinion was everything to them. His guidance mattered to them. As they grew and developed, they naturally deviated from being wholly aligned with him. This made it harder for Kody to feel respected."
This made it harder for Kody to feel validated.
This made it harder for Kody to be a decent person. Robin has a different POV. Kody is not close with his adult children solely because of Christine.
Yes.
She makes her impossible frown to the camera. Garrison demonstrates how out of touch he and his father have been. Since Kody has ghosted him and his siblings, the industrious man has bought a house, been accepted into school, and bought the car that was not recommended by his father.
It wasn't a Lexus.
Which is always Kody's recommendation. Mr. The Phone works both ways, lies to us, and declares that he has been trying to contact his children, but they all have blocked him. Yeah, we know he hasn't contacted Savannah. And by the way, Kody, even if you couldn't get in touch with your kids via phone, you absolutely had an avenue to dig your way into their lives. You could have driven to the rental on Christmas to see them in person. Your sons were asking for you, but you were so goddamn selfish. You didn't want to leave your zone of comfort to go to one that was neutral.
This man is so taxing. Kody's a jackass!
Gwendolyn has arrived just in time for dessert. Everyone partakes in the real key lime pie instead of Janelle's diet one.
Maybe that's because Janelle wanted it all for herself.
That kind of defeats the purpose. As everyone digs into the sweet treat, Christine questions her daughter about the schism that happened over the holidays. She's specifically referring to the Brownie sibling group chat and Robin's interference into the whole ordeal. Garrison explains that it has been a tradition for the past 20 years for each sibling to be a secret Santa to another one during the holidays. Christine gives a differing POV that it was actually Aspen who started the text thread. So we've been told differing accounts of who started this group chat. Peyton says it was Logan, Mykelti says it was her, and now we have Christine saying it was Aspen. So I don't know if we'll ever clear that up of who started this thing. Robin insisted that there be a virtual meeting with every member in attendance, but all of the children thought a Zoom meeting felt impersonal to the spirit of the exchange. As reservations poured in about this idea, Robin turned onto the defensive, bringing up things like her part of the family was traumatized by the OG families. This invokes a reaction from Gwen, saying it is nonsensical for Robin to label her and her children as the traumatized victims of the family, when the rest of them have been traumatized by their father's abandonment.
I don't know. It feels weird. I think we all know that there was some difficulty for the children accepting Robin's kids into the family. I don't think anybody can argue with that, but to say that it's some sort of traumatic thing in their past and then Robin going into victim mode.
Yeah, because I feel that Robin holds grudges. There are multiple episodes where Garrison and Gabe were just fighting. They would turn off each other's games. And they're like two peas in a pod now. I guess they just never forgave them for when they were younger.
I don't know. I mean, it might go a long ways to explain the whole nanny situation. Maybe Robin really did think that the kids had it out for her children physically or some nonsense. But the one thing that the kids make clear in this conversation is that they tried to work out solutions with Robin, but Robin was very, very stubborn. She needed it to be her way and nothing else, which, if that's not just the Kody MO, then I don't know. I was thinking, how do we know that it wasn't just Kody pretending to be Robin in these texts?
I don't know if I'd go that far. I think Robin can be just as bad as Kody, if not worse.
Good point.
We get Robin's unneeded perspective, maintaining that Kody didn't favor her family. They wanted to be part of the big family from the get-go. Even though, from the get-go, Robin didn't want the other moms looking after her kids. Someone brought this up in a Facebook group. When this bitch went on her honeymoon, she had her mother look after Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. So even at the first opportunity to blend her children into the bigger picture, she refused to do that. And that has been consistent in what she's always done. She prefers her own extended family to watch her children because she didn't trust any of her sister wives.
She married this man, and she had a spiritual witness that this man is who God wanted her to and she didn't trust the sister wives. That seems really backward in this situation.
Yeah, it's like as Christine said, there's times when a girl comes into a plural situation and only sees the man and not his wives in tow.
You'd think that you'd also want to marry into the sister wives group, but she'd already decided that she wanted to marry Kody before she even met Christine. Mm-hmm. So it's all bull.
Robin just wanted that sweet TLC money. She continues on, saying the merger felt more palpable after a decade, but then COVID hit, and all that went down the toilet, where her and her kiddos felt excluded again.
Convenient.
Gwen describes more of what happened within this debacle. Robin went on a tirade within the chat, claiming that the OG kids traumatized her part of the family. Also, none of them respected her as their mother.
Respected. Just another time that there's this cross-pollination between Robin's family and the words they use.
Mm-hmm. The 20-year-old woman balks at this accusation, saying that she's always accepted Robin's kids as her own siblings, and even Robin herself as a bonus mom. Speaking of Robin's kids, Aurora explains what happened after the drama of the group chat died down. She and her bio siblings felt a negative wave of feelings come from the original family. She felt hurt when Garrison and Gabe organized a separate Christmas from the one at the McMansion without texting anything to either her or Brianna. This is how you know how manipulative Kody and Robin are, since both these parents knew full well the circumstances to meet up at their house during Christmas. The boys had to apologize to Robin. Kody claims that wasn't the case, but let's be honest with the situation. That's exactly what the mandate was. And these two imbeciles didn't bother relaying any of this information to Robin's kiddos because they are happy with the miscommunication and having a broken picture.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious. I hate the way that Robin and Kody do this thing where they say, oh, they hurt me and also this other person. That way they can victimize themselves and show support for somebody else. They keep doing that, where Kody says, oh, you're being mean to me and Robin. You're being mean to me and Brianna. You're being mean to me and my kids.
Well, it's a way for him to pull in potential allies.
That's definitely part of it. But I think another part of it is it's also a way of putting words into somebody else's mouth that isn't there. Mm-hmm. They can weaponize somebody else who isn't even there. They can weaponize the children. They can weaponize the other people. So it's like they're talking as a group instead of individually.
These people are so manipulative. Kody and Robin's worldview only works when they believe that they're being oppressed. So they have to create this whole oppression. Like during Peyton's conversation, Christine tries to give her daughter hope that discord will heal. The astute young woman adamantly disagrees. No, I see it getting worse. Apparently, before Robin exited the conversation, she put up an ultimatum saying until she feels respected as a mother, she will not participate in any more Christmas events with the adult children.
I thought Kody said she didn't want an apology. It's almost like Kody's a liar.
Who lies? The woman who is gradually morphing into Kody likens this flood of hate from the older children to being voted off the Brown family island.
It's just Survivor.
Instead of making her grand exit, she instead texted Logan and Mykelti to impart this bad news to the rest of the adult children since she didn't feel comfortable talking to any of them anymore. This is a woman in her mid-40s, and she's texting children who are half her age to relay a message to the even younger children because she's so emotionally immature.
No wonder Kody loves her so much.
Tender-minded. To the producers, Garrison is looking really stressed. He corroborates with Gwen's narrative, saying later that week he did end up getting a text from Mykelti saying that Robin had cut ties with the disrespectful older children until further notice. During the dinner, he vents that this was another incident in which Robin turned a neutral situation into one where the adult kids were ostracizing her. Yeah, this again is apples to apples with Janelle's viewpoint a few episodes ago, in that Robin turns non-confrontational interactions into ones where she can play the victim. Robin goes to Kody to say how awful Janelle was. Robin goes to Kody to see how terrible his older bio kids are being to her, and then her husband uses those instances to separate himself from those very people. Yes, Robin is the reason this family is broken.
I don't know. I still am like a lot of the people who watch this show, still trying to figure out whether or not it's Robin or Kody that's ultimately at fault here. I think the family was broken before Robin got there, but I think Robin just made everything worse. I'm picturing in my head a cracked vase or something. It's cracked and it's broken already, but it's still holding itself together. Robin is what happens when somebody comes by with an ice pick or something, or a chisel, and just jams it inside the crack and wiggles it around. Eventually it's going to cause the vase to shatter.
Yeah, I can see that. The family was still broken, but it still held itself together. And Robin just forced it apart. The young man continues his grievances as his mom looks on, nodding in approval. Garrison explains that the siblings all wanted to do the gift exchange, but were not so keen to follow Robin's suggestion to a virtual meeting. He says, "No, we weren't ostracizing her. We were trying to figure out a means to do this Christmas exchange whilst adjusting to her COVID guidelines." So, this is somewhat new information. What I'm surmising is that the sibling group exchange was going to be an in-person thing, because Robin wanted to be part of this Secret Santa tradition, but wanted it to be exclusively virtual, where people would get their presents, I assume, via mail, and there'd be reactions through the computer. Gwen says the adult kids thought that a mass Zoom meeting was impersonal, and weren't keen on that idea. Robin then throws a tantrum because she thinks that the older kids just don't want to social distance from each other, aka have a Zoom meeting because they want to be together in person. Because they did do that before in Christmas 2020. They social distanced from each other for a couple weeks and then were all together for Christmas. So I'm thinking, I guess the same thing is happening here. Because in episode 2, when the sibling group exchange was first revealed, my conclusion about why the kids weren't for it was because it's hard to get everyone to sit down for a virtual meeting. So I'm guessing that the plan was to get everyone together in one place to do this tradition, because Garrison mentions trying to accommodate Robin's COVID guidelines. Those wouldn't really come into play if the kids weren't planning to get together anyways.
Yes.
I'm really impressed with the way these older kids are trying to make the best out of a hard situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how they were raised, though. They always had to make the best out of hard situations.
Yeah, they basically had to raise themselves. Mr. only gives a about COVID when it inconveniences him, lies to us once more that he was the one who came up with the protocols, not Robin. Gabriel adds more insight into the text thread drama. He asserts Robin was gaslighting everyone into giving her some special treatment. Gwen agrees, saying that this is Robin's MO due to being the last wife to marry into the family. She wanted special treatment for her and her kids. Gwen reassures her own mom that that was something Christine never did.
That's not going to stop Kody from accusing her of that, though.
Christine's kids probably got off the worst out of all of them. Garrison then summarizes how Robin fractured the family permanently. This woman used COVID as an opportunity to have their dad be exclusive to her household, then convinced him that it was the other family's fault for the conflict. He declares, "We were just living our lives. When things went bad, we protested the unfair treatment of both our moms' marriages. Once those went down the drain, we realized we can do our own thing. As soon as we did our own thing, Robin could no longer assert herself as a victim because we gave up planning things with the entire family in mind." So I think what Garrison is saying is that there were potential plans for him and Gabe to have that conversation with their dad in order to have Christmas all together. When they found out that their dad was neglecting their mom, they decided to say, screw it. Mom deserves better. Let's just have our own Christmas get-together without him.
I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth when the kids said that the only reason they were putting up with Kody was for their mother's relationship's sake. It's always really shitty when a child has to bend over backwards to meet the emotional needs of a parent, which it feels like these kids constantly had to do. They constantly felt they were the ones that had the most control over their parents' emotions, specifically Kody, but I don't know.
Again, Kody needs 24 people to feel good about himself. Gwen expands on Garrison's words that their father chose to only spend Christmas with one family. The man who insists that he has made strides to reach out to all his children then gives us the line of the episode. "All of you are jerks. This is why I don't want to be around ya. I'm tired of it. I don't want to call them, and I don't want to talk to them."
We all knew that. You felt that way, Kody. You're the one who keeps telling us otherwise.
Remember when Robin said that...
To be honest, some of the kids have been jerks about their dad and him having kids and stuff like that.
All of you are just kind of jerks. I don't want to be around you.
These two are just getting more and more alike each day.
Eventually, they'll have to break up because that's the natural life cycle. When a wife becomes too much like Kody, they have to be chased away like Meri.
Robin just needs to bring in a new wife, and the life cycle will continue anew.
It's the circle of life. It's beautiful in its own way.
Okay. Garrison ascertains that he is never going to reach out to Robin again. He is grateful to just be living his own life, knowing that his stepmother is fuming over the fact she can't guilt anyone into doing her bidding anymore. He assesses that all of the adult kids, with the exception of Mykelti, are pretty much on the same page. Robin can have their dad. They don't need him. They are adults who don't need a father figure anymore. Gwen somewhat concurs to this statement, saying she'd like to say she's indifferent, but overall the commotion has hurt her.
I've got some thoughts on Mykelti, but I can hold on to them till later.
In her confessional, Christine expresses what she desperately wanted to say to her children. "I don't believe that. I believe every kid needs their dad. I still need my dad. I don't know what I can say to that. Sorry is the natural response, I guess. I'm not trying to excuse Kody, but I wish they had a father who made it easier and better." Gwen notices the dark cloud that has taken hold of the discussion and tries to lighten the mood. "But who needs a dad when you've got two moms? Love is love."
Haha.
Janelle tries to clear up that she isn't a lesbian.
Oh, no, Sherlock.
She's like, "Not like that, but we're still sister wives." Christine laughs, saying she couldn't give her kids a good father, but she at least was able to give them Janelle.
Which is better than their real father.
The logical wife tries to pinpoint where things went wrong. She says that they must have missed a few steps when trying to incorporate Robin and her kids into the bigger picture. Her sister wife is quick to ease her worries, saying that it wasn't for lack of trying because, boy, did they try. Christine alludes to the times when Kody would say she was a bully to Robin. After seeing this footage, Kody speaks out that that was something he's never done. He goes,
I never actually accused Christine of bullying. She was just a crap sister wife.
Even though he has said last season,
She's treated you like dirt from the very beginning. That's the relationship you have with her.
What does he think the viewers do for 40 minutes a week? Does he think we just stare at the wall? We watch your show. We can see when you're lying, Kody.
I had a violent, nauseous reaction to Kody when he says, she's just a sister wife or something like that. And I couldn't handle Kody at that moment at all. I just short-circuited. This man is such a jack.
This man is wearing blinders. He literally cannot perceive anything beyond Robin. Garrison maintains that his relations to his father used to be fine up until Thanksgiving 2021. They were sincere enough with one another that Garrison was comfortable asking him for counsel. Despite this turn of events, Garrison, Gwen, and Gabe do want to patch things up with Robin's children. Their main obstacle in mending these relationships is the fact that Robin is hovering over her kids 24/7. Garrison goes, I'm gonna try to fix things, but if Robin's there, I don't give a f***. He confesses that at this point, the feelings are still too fresh for him to have an in-person conversation with his stepmom. He claims that he doesn't have the emotional maturity to handle that sort of discourse in front of her.
I just had a thought about Robin. Do you think that everything would be fixed if you just right-click deleted Robin from existence? Just, boom, she's gone. I don't know. She was abducted by aliens. Maybe she hied to Kolob. Anyway, she's just not there anymore. Would everything just fix itself?
But then Kody would be sad.
Yeah.
His favorite wife wouldn't be with him.
And how is he going to deal with feeling sad about not having his favored wife? He's going to rebuild his relationship with Janelle.
And Meri?
And possibly Meri.
Whoa.
All the kids are going to talk to each other again. I think that's the best thought experiment that you could use to prove that Robin really is the biggest problem.
I don't know. Does it also work if you just get rid of Kody instead?
I don't think so. I don't think the kids are going to be able to reconcile with Robin, and Robin's probably just going to try to get another man. I don't think it works.
Robin is probably the biggest barrier to this family's success. Gwen adds that it would, at the end of the day, be futile to try to patch things up with Robin, since she takes advantage of their vulnerability by crying bully and trying to manipulate their reactions by playing the victim.
The best part of this season so far is people calling out Robin for doing the things that we know that she's been doing for years.
It's her M.O. As we hear these statements, we get Robin on the couch trying to manipulate Gwen's words, saying that them hurting her is proof that she does care about them. They're never gonna see me as anything other than the bad guy. That's because you are in the plainest sense a Disney villain, Robin.
Robin is like a fairy tale evil stepmother. She is selfish and she takes what she can, and it often means that children suffer because of it. You're a bad guy, Robin.
We go back to Gabe. As he sits in silence, Christine asks what he is thinking. He says that the only person who has ever spoken the words I love you from that side of the family was Aurora. They occasionally bump into one another on the NAU campus. As he spills this information, Gwen seems genuinely shocked. She's like... She is surprised since she hasn't seen Aurora in so long, despite also going to the same college. Gabe notifies Gwen that Aurora tends to devote the majority of her non-class hours to being in the science building. She thanks him for this information and declares that she will hunt Aurora down the next time she is back on campus.
I thought this was really strange. I don't know about you and your siblings and family members, but banding about the phrase I love you is a little awkward. And so I was also shocked that this is the kind of language that Aurora says to Gabe. So I was thinking that that was part of the surprised bit, because it is kind of awkward. But anyway, yeah, you can keep going.
Aurora describes those interactions she's had with her brother. I do see him from time to time. There were well wishes given, hugs, and I love yous. Just trying to check in on each other. Honestly, throughout all this, Gabe has been nothing but kind. Good on you, Aurora. I like that coming from her. I I didn't expect that this episode.
Yeah, I definitely noticed when Brianna kind of gives her a bit of a glare for reacting this way, because I got the sensation that Brianna's thinking, you're going off script. That's not what Mom wanted you to say.
You are talking to these people that hurt us?
Yeah, you could really feel some animosity coming off of Brianna here.
That's part of the reason why I think Aurora and Brianna switched places in our esteem. Christine commends Garrison for being vulnerable with his mother's and younger siblings. The man who keeps accusing everyone of not being culpable then declares that Christine is feeding the flames in this civil war by coercing her children to shit-talk him. This was so sad to see the contrast of Garrison being extremely open about his dissatisfaction with his dad that has almost 0% to do with Christine. And then in the next clip, we see Kody going, this is a divorce, which means this is a civil war. And it's all because Christine is igniting their hatred towards me.
Yes, the war of Christine aggression.
I'm thinking, no, you stupid MFer. This is all because of you. God, this man is so daft. He continues his delirious accusations, saying that Christine has some terrible karma coming her way. And that sounded eerily threatening coming from him. What is he trying to say? That's an ominous way of saying you hate someone.
When Christine dies and they're playing this on Dateline, that's the clip that they're going to show.
He's like, I think she's got some terrible karma coming. He did say in episode 2 he had violent thoughts about her. He's such a frickin' crazy man.
Mm-hmm.
Gwen then voices a really sad sentiment. Oh my god, imagine having a father that loves you. Savannah tries to console her older sister, but fails to do so, saying that Dad does love her, but is just angry at Gwen for no reason. Thank you, Savannah.
You're super helpful, Savannah.
Maybe Savannah was referring to herself, because obviously Kody doesn't call her.
Whatever you have to tell yourself to sleep at night.
Christine tries to convey to Gwen that she does have a father who loves her. However, the exasperated mom can only do so much to prove that, especially when Kody has done so little to show it.
And has often done so much to provide evidence of the contrary.
So much evidence. We then get the reason why Kody's relationships with his adult children is non-existent. He says to the cameras that every talk, every trash talk, every opinion will absolutely be reciprocated back onto them. I think the same thing on them. I don't know how to respond to this type of mentality. Anyone who thinks it faultless for themselves to say an eye for an eye, particularly with their own kid, needs to be punished really badly, because that is absolutely not what a parent should be thinking.
It's also just not accurate. He is feeling these emotions of absolute disdain for these people and how he hates them and he thinks violent thoughts about them and he wants to cut them out of his life. Whereas these other people seem to be genuinely mourning the loss of their relationship with their father and husband. They are mourning the loss and he is actively hating them.
You are not reciprocating. Kody, you are doing something that is the complete opposite of what they're doing. Back in his confessional, Garrison is about to tear up. He says that if he could pass on something to Robin and her kids, he wishes that they would know that all the adult children forgive any and all guilt trips that were directed towards them. He goes, if you want to participate in the gift exchange again, you're always welcome. Our arms are open. If you're still not comfortable, we're not going to chase you. At the close of the meetup, Christine summarizes her Flagstaff visit. She loves being back in town since she connects with Janelle and the kids again. However, her heart goes out to them whenever they communicate how much stress and hurt their father has put them through. She says, when I come back, I discuss the hardest parts of my life. I go back into the past and tackle everything that was difficult. I hope the kids have found some burden lifted as they've conversed through this. We then get to the part of the episode where I took very little notes because it was so boring.
Oh, is this the Christine? No, this other part.
We are once again subjected to what Mykelti and Tony are up to.
Oh.
They, too, are back in Flagstaff, but this time to celebrate Avalon's first birthday. So this means we are in April. I I found it annoying that Robin and Kody demand everyone come to them. They made Tony, Mykelti, and Avalon drive all the way to Flagstaff to celebrate their daughter's birthday with them. I thought that was inconsiderate of the parents.
Yeah, it's always about them.
Kody expounds on the relationship between Mykelti and Robin. Those two have been close ever since his courtship to his fourth wife. Mykelti felt an affinity to her since Robin embraced Mykelti, who was constantly on the outs by her other moms and older sisters. Christine then says something annoying in her confessional. She tries to redirect blame, but all of the teasing her second-born daughter faced came from her older siblings, not necessarily from her own mother.
Yeah, Christine, you're not doing a great job.
I mean, Christine isn't perfect. Up until recently, she and Kody had raised almost all their children in a very strict religion, which most likely affected Mykelti's mental well-being.
I mean, Mykelti is behaving the way she does because of how she was raised. She was marginalized. She was ostracized. She was the bad one. She was the black sheep. She was the one that you point to be, that's the one we don't want you to turn out to be like. And now the tables have turned. She has the ability to be the one golden child, and that's what she's chosen to do. It stems from trauma. It stems from her feeling like she doesn't have value, and she's desperate for the approval of her parental figures. Hence why she does all this annoying bullshit. But guess what? That's kind of Kody and Christine's fault.
With everything she's experienced, I think it was inevitable that Mykelti would find solace in Robin, side against her mom, and subsequently claim that she's being neutral.
Nobody's getting out of this family without some emotional damage.
We shift gears to the final segment of the episode. Christine has gathered a select group of friends and Janelle to hang out with her on her ex-anniversary. So this would make this date March 25th. So we went backwards again in the timeline. Since the producers have ran their time at Salsa Brava into the ground, we are back filming at Josephine's. The last time we were at this location was 4 seasons ago. It's a little awkward now since last time Christine was there, it was with all her sister wives in tow. And it's kind of ironic she's coming here again, but with an almost different set of people to commemorate her getting out of polygamy. The free woman laughs during her confessional, asking if it's normal for people to celebrate an ex-anniversary. I mean, if it empowers you, good on you.
Celebrate every day if it makes you happy.
Yeah, frankly, people have a hard time celebrating regular anniversaries, but hey, whatever gets you to get out a little bit more. Christine explains how she met these friends. It was through Isabel. They met through the party that was thrown for their graduating daughters. I remember the episode during that get-together, and I didn't see any person at that graduation party that was non-family. So Christine must be talking about a second culmination celebration, or Isabel's friends and their moms just didn't show up on camera because they weren't in that episode.
Or it's just complete BS created for a fake reality television show.
Or they're just some people who are asked, hey, do you want to be on TV? The ex-polygamist woman advocates how important it is to find people that know exactly what you're going through when you're transitioning into new phases of life. As the group of ladies chit-chat, Christine gets an unexpected call from her ex. She lets the call go to voicemail right before she turns her phone on silent. Kody alleges that the reason for the phone call was because he was eager to know if he could spend time with Truly. I highly doubt Kody was calling for this reason, because in a bonus scene of episode 2, whenever Christine would say she would notify Kody when Truly was in town, Kody would just say,
Like if I'm going to go work, then you would just have to arrange something for her to see the kids if I'm gone.
I'm thinking, you don't care about Truly. You see your kid once every 3 to 4 months, and the first mention that she'll be in town, your first reaction is to say, too bad, I'm going to be at work something out with Robin while I'm gone.
I mean, isn't at work just him lying around in his underpants? He's at work. It's just what he calls his nap.
That means he's at work all day long. The former third wife recounts what she expected out of Kody for their non-anniversary. She flat out told her ex that she doesn't want any calls from him. She spills the beans on some ridiculous suggestions he wanted both of them to do concerning social media posts. He wanted them to post a pic of them together. Christine obviously rejected that idea. This must have been a suggestion that happened in March 2021 because she and Kody made their Instagram divorce announcement in November 2021. He shouldn't be proposing these sorts of announcements on their social media post-split. There's no point to that.
Yeah, I mean, unless he thought that they were just going to fake that they had a relationship. Maybe she decided to divorce him, but he thought maybe they could keep it secret and just pretend that they're still together. Or maybe he's doing a Janelle thing where he's in denial about it.
Yeah, he's probably in denial.
Okay.
Because you just announced to the whole world that Christine is not your wife anymore. There's no point in posting another Instagram post about your anniversary.
I mean, that's such a romantic gesture. Hey, do you want to make an Instagram post?
Christine then gives some unsolicited relationship advice to everyone who's been in a miserable marriage and who have, at some point, thought about divorce. She goes, "Go, just do it. Stop pretending this is worth it. I might be giving terrible advice. I am by no means a professional. I just know how it feels like on the other side. And it's awesome."
I got the feeling that it was somebody who says that you can solve all house cleaning and health issues with a liberal application of apple cider vinegar. It solves all the problems. Just apple cider vinegar, and it can cure all of your indigestion. It can also make your liver better. And I'm like, Christine, it's a great solution, but it's not everybody's solution.
It's nice to see Christine happy about anything in life. Christine and her gal pals drink a little bit more and start to unwind. This incites Christy, one of the friends, to ask Janelle some personal questions. One of these questions is, how did Janelle get intel about Christine and Kody's struggling marriage as a sister wife? Christine tells her friend that happened a couple ways. First, Janelle has watched the dissolution of their relationship for years. The second, more overt way is that Christine just straight up told Janelle how shitty it's been. Janelle concedes to these answers. The somewhat buzzed friends then prod the normally reserved woman for details into her marriage to Kody. Understandably, the somewhat personal question catches the second wife off guard. She is reticent about giving an answer since she has just met these people. She says, "This is my first time meeting these strangers. I'm not going to spill my deepest secrets only for them to go home and think I'm weird."
Janelle is, even to her close family members, very shut off. There's no way she's going to spill her guts to this group of strangers.
Instead of answering their question, she plays it off, saying that Christine and her are the core of the group anyway. Her ideal setting would be to have Christine and her live in a gigantic house again, where their kids and families are under their roof, running back and forth between the two households. Janelle's basically admitting that she and Christine want the biggie housey, but just not with Kody or Robin.
Huge improvement.
Krista, another friend, then presents the giving of the ex-anniversary presents. She gives Christine a customized mug with the phrase, "Smash the patriarchy." Gwen would approve of this gift.
I don't understand how Gwen is supposed to survive with Gabe and Garrison under the same house.
Christine's probably right. It might fall apart. The editors flash back to that one ridiculous scene where Kody decided to reinstate the patriarchy into his family again.
I love how he says it so nonchalantly and is just, this is going to be something that people want to hear, and then says it, and everyone is completely shocked that he said the thing he said.
Way to not read the room, Kody.
Or in this case, way to read the outdoor fire pit while everybody's in camping chairs because nobody wants to go inside. Anyway, keep going.
We get redundant footage from Christine's drunk friends questioning the former polygamist women of stuff the fandom already know. Stuff like, who are the other sister wives besides her and Janelle? Does Kody rotate amongst the remaining three? Does he want his own house? I don't know what this added to the episode. This could have been skipped.
They had footage. They were going to use it.
The conversation presses on. Christy then adds what is Meri's deal in wanting to stay with Kody, who wants nothing to do with her. Janelle then tells the curious woman the most accurate line concerning their religion. Plural marriage works kind of good when you're not wanting to necessarily be married. The extremely low-maintenance wife rationalizes Meri's actions of sticking around for the sake of wanting to have some figment of a relationship with the favorite wife's children. We pivot to the topic of friendships. Christine owns up to the fact that she's never had a close group of friends that weren't part of her old church community until now. She says, I've never had a bunch of girlfriends that didn't live polygamy like this. Ever. We get an annoying shift in the conversation where Janelle and Christine now seem to be defending this plural lifestyle that up until a few minutes ago they have been shitting on for this past episode. They described the duplicity of the past Utah law, where it was forbidden for a man to purport to be married to multiple women, yet it's okay for another man to have affairs with as many partners as possible.
This is such a bad argument. It's so irritating. Because one, nobody is a fan of a man having lots of women. Everybody thinks that's scummy. That's, first off, wrong. And two, the reason why it's illegal to be married to all of these women is things like insurance fraud, tax fraud, welfare fraud.
Anything that Robin can enumerate, basically.
Yeah, so it's a whole bunch of stuff.
Christine says the former example only wants to take care of and financially support all of them.
She has evidence that that's literally not the case.
Janelle maintains that polygamy wasn't the downfall of hers and Christine's marriages. It was human nature. In other words, it was because of the fact that Kody changed. Janelle, didn't you just say earlier this episode that most men fail in polygamy? Therefore, polygamy is the problem. Christine gives us whiplash again and realizes that she does hate polygamy. She affirms that she is fine if people choose to live it, but this is not a great family structure, because once that man does find the love of his life, the other women are screwed. We are then subjected to more falsehoods from the insecure man. He alleges that Christine forced herself into his life and demanded she be in his family, and he also isn't bothered in the slightest by her leaving, only by the fact she is the children's ear and is constantly talking him to them.
This man, he's insufferable.
To her friends, Christine repeats what her tipping point was with Kody. Aside from him shirking his fatherly duties, the insensitive man declared that she was unattractive to him. This made it easy for the empowered woman to kick him out of her bed and bedroom. Despite having fun with her friends, she says her ex-anniversary is still emblematic of the pain it carries. In retrospect, the liberated woman just wishes that 12 years ago, when Kody did find the love of his life, he had the ability to be honest with his first 3 families. I wish he said, look, I found the love of my life. I found Robin. She and I are soulmates, and we want to live together for the rest of our lives. So let's figure out a way to see where the 3 of you fit in this scenario. Again, if Kody divorced his wives, they would be given to other men in their church, which would be a hit to his ego. So there was no way in hell he would have done something like that.
I mean, we've said it before that we think that Kody should have done exactly this. So, yeah.
Christine reflects back on the premise of the show. Initially, the goal of it was to show that polygamy could be lived without the aspects of suppression and control. All of that has pretty much unraveled with the depiction of her divorce and their broken family on international TV. Christine closes the episode expressing that even if their story has been messy, it's okay because it's been a real and vulnerable one. End of episode.
Okay. Over an enormous salad bar, we finally get more information on the Brown family group chat. Kody is completely off his rocker and misunderstands the term reciprocal. Christine and Meri both indulge in the pleasure that is explaining polygamy to people who don't really care.
Thank you for making it this far. And thank you to everyone who has watched, liked, commented, and or subscribed. Again, don't share on Reddit. Okay, so we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.